Oh, hello, community. I hope that you are doing so well today, that you are feeling good, that life is being kind to you. I am Jackie Boyd. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them. I'm the owner and founder of the Care Plan, located in Chicago, Illinois, but we work around the country. We help individuals navigate health and aging challenges. And we also work with organizations to develop cultures of care through education, training, workshops, and consulting services. So if you were looking for resources, you landed in the right place. And I am so happy and honored to be with you tonight. Pardon me, I was just outside enjoying the fresh air and apparently kicked up a little a little something. So I hope you're getting some time to yourself, some time to exercise, move your body, and take care of yourselves during these winter months. I know in the Midwest, it's definitely a long stretch between summer, spring, and fall, and we get about 6 months of winter. So, I know sometimes those can be gray days, it can be a little stressful, a little kind of isolating. So I just encourage you to keep connecting with each other, with your loved ones, taking time for yourself, and doing the things that lift you up and refill your tank. So, you are here for Cozy with a Care Plan. Tonight, we're talking about useful apps and technology for caregivers. So, this is going to be a pretty wide ranging conversation, and I encourage you, if you have questions after watching this, to please reach out. I'm always happy to talk, or a member of our team would be happy to support you in managing the care for yourself or a loved one. I think it's also important to clarify that when we offer these resources, I know we use the term caregivers. Not everybody identifies with that term, and some folks may be thinking about this for themselves. So if you're anticipating needing to manage an illness, manage something with your health, or if you're aging, these are tips and strategies for you too, not just for people that identify as caregivers, but for folks currently receiving care, anticipating aging, and those who just feel like, I'm just a friend helping out, but maybe you're helping out and could use some resources. Hi, I'm glad that you joined. Thank you for being here tonight. If you have specific questions, if you're having specific challenges, feel free to put your question in the chat, and I will do my best to provide some resources around it. So don't be shy. Don't hesitate to speak up and share your concern or perspective. So I wanted to start out with really kind of some basic online portals that can be very helpful when you're trying to support a loved one's care. And again, if you are thinking of care for yourself or aging or dealing with chronic illness, these can be really, really helpful websites too. So the first thing that I recommend to everybody, hi everyone, so glad you're here. We're talking about apps and thank you, Tiffy. We're talking about apps and technology to help with the caregiving journey. So the first thing is patient portals. If you are trying to manage your own care or caring for a loved one, since our whole healthcare system has been required to have electronic medical records, it is the easiest way to schedule appointments with your physician or your medical team, to really see your notes and results. I think that is the most helpful part about this, is oftentimes when you get the information from your doctor, they kind of say the high level of what's going on with your health. Or they'll say, oh, this x-ray didn't show anything really, you're fine. Or we saw this, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I love the medical record system because it gives you the actual reports and the actual language that the doctors and nurses and techs are using, and you find out more information. I've looked at lab results, at blood tests results, at x-rays, and I'm not a nurse, but I learned so much from those. It's like, oh, there's mild deterioration, or there's a number slightly out of range, and 9 times out of 10, these are pieces of information that the doctor or the medical provider didn't have time to share or didn't think was of note to share, but it might be important to my client for other reasons. So the patient portals have been just, I think for any caregiver, you're going to spend so much time making doctor's appointments, trying to communicate with the medical team, trying to get records, trying to share records. If, say, your loved one goes on an ER visit to one hospital and they don't have access to the records from another hospital or another doctor, you can send that information in the portal too. So the patient portals are an amazing, amazing tool. And I think they really can be very useful if you or your loved one gets signed up for them, in helping communication, in helping you understand and be educated about what's going on, and in tracking progress and history, right? I've had clients who were dealing with maybe physical health conditions and also some behavioral health support services, and we were able to look back at every visit they had ever had to help coordinate. Oh yeah, was that a provider you liked? Was that, what happened with this provider? What was going on during this time of your life? To really be sure that we were, comprehensive in the resources and support that this person needed in the moment, what they had utilized in the past, and what they needed for the future. So patient portal associated with your medical providers, and I do say providers because you may have more than one system that you're working in. The patient portal will be a really helpful tool. So that's one sort of general online piece that I wanted to share with you. The other is specific services and benefits often also have their own portal login, and I think people forget about this. So for example, if somebody's applying for Medicare, or I just had this with a friend of a friend recently whose dad had an emergency health incident, and he basically was working in a factory his whole life, but the family was trying to figure out, well, I think he's got to retire early because this health situation is declining. And I said, get him onto the socialsecurity.gov website. He can see exactly what his benefits are going to be. He can see exactly how to, start those benefits, and he can apply for Medicare all in the same website, ssa.gov. And it was literally within 5 minutes, the family and this person were able to create the login and see exactly what kind of benefits he'd be able to get in terms of his pension, or his Social Security. Sorry, not pension, not the same thing. Social Security is from the government, pension is from your job. So what his Social Security benefits were going to be, they could find it out. It didn't have to be a big question. They didn't have to call Social Security and wait online. They didn't have to go into the office. Turns out he also needed a replacement Social Security card, so they were able to take care of all of that online. So whether it's something like Social Security, Medicare, maybe it's like food benefits or Meals on Wheels, try online first. See if there's an online portal or database that you can sign up for and log into that will help you with managing your benefits. This can also be true for certain types of retirement benefits. It's a challenge, but because so many of the retirement systems are really unique, but they might have a database or a way for your loved one to log in and manage. I find this is also very helpful in terms of the financial realm. It's important if someone is doing this for themselves, or if you're supporting a loved one, just make sure that they have good cybersecurity on their machine, with their passwords. You want to be sure, of course, that information is protected. But it can make things easier to manage if someone's not able to write out a check, or not able to get their mail for a while because they're in a rehab facility or at a different location. So just think outside the box and use the technology that is given, and try to support the ease of communication and accomplishing tasks by using things like those online resources. So, time for apps. Uh, I think apps can be incredibly helpful. I use them all day long for a million different reasons, but on a really basic level, I don't want you to neglect even just how simple and straightforward it is to take notes on an app. If you are managing care for yourself or one or more people, you're unlikely to be able to remember everything that's happening and when things are happening. And life moves really fast. That's the reality of being a caregiver, is there is a lot happening, often all the time. So just in terms of taking notes, I know one of the things that has been helpful for myself and for others is to have whatever your taking app is on your phone. I think mine's Google Keep right now, but I've used Evernote. You can use Google Docs if you want. And there's a lot of other easy to find note-taking apps that are out there. But I recommend having separate notes for separate tasks. So for example, I would keep a note about doctor's appointments with summaries of what happened during the doctor's appointments and next steps. So it would, I'd have one note or notebook with everything about the doctors and the healthcare journey, when we went to the hospital, what was going on in terms of the actual appointments. And then I would have a separate notebook or note section of to-dos, like the things that I needed to accomplish that week or that month, or those next few months. I would keep a to-dos list. And then I would also keep a daily observations list, right? Things that were happening on the day-to-day basis. Like, for example, documenting when we would do a sponge bath or a shower, how things were going in terms of movement, mobility, orientation. So making sure that whatever apps you like for taking notes, you find one and keep them separate, right? So like I said, medical notes were in one section, daily observations were in another section, to-do lists were in another section of things that needed to get done that week or that month. I want to take a moment and say hi to the folks that are with us. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions about what apps or technology might be available for caregivers, please go ahead and put it in the chat. We're just kind of working our way through. So far we've talked about kind of the bigger scale technology pieces, things like patient portals for your medical records, SSA.gov, or places like in Illinois it's ABE for Illinois SNAP benefits, the Meals on Wheels, things like that. And then we started talking about just the basic apps or applications that you can find on your phone or look for online to help you as a caregiver. So the one that I mentioned is just a note-taking app. Whatever works for you. I used Evernote for a number of years, and now I'm using Google Keep, not for anything that would be, HIPAA relevant, but just for my personal notes when I'm caregiving. The other thing that can be helpful is like a repository kind of app. I have yet to find an app that does kind of everything that I would like for caregiver management, but there's some really good pieces out there. So Caregiver Village is an app that lets you kind of be a repository of information and